Peace, family. Peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. This is FleurBrun coming to you today with another really interesting topic of discussion. So, as I started off, I wanted to give honor to our ancestors who are now coming back online, clearing and disinfecting the planet. Now, for many people who really know that obviously the reason why all these volcanoes are erupting is because it was purposefully done by the dark cabal through the process of fracking. Thank you, Lynn Begley, for giving us a lot of intel containing a lot of the information regarding the invocation of and the initiation of the first fissure showing up in the Big Island, and Pele showing her beautiful, beautiful red hair that's flowing into the sea. Grateful to the mama for showing up however she is invoked, however she is prodded, she is pissed off and she is disinfecting. We are getting a natural and a wonderful matron nature gentrification. As you know, the planet has been overtaken by those who are considered to be the cancer that have colonized the planet and have disforestized. They have displaced the natives. They have displaced the animals. They have created genocide and herbicide. They have nutricide the people, the planet, and all that has been now existing on Mama Tiamat, and she is now provoked. And as we've seen, for those who don't know gentrification, you are very grateful that you don't know what gentrification is. Gentrification is when you have an area that's considered undesirable, with people that you deem to be, removable. You create a type of a stimulating event, or you create some sort of outer outer kind of distraction, and usually it's based in economics, social economical implication. And what you do is you remove a group of people from these areas. Usually what happens is that, if you don't know, that most places on the planet that are considered to be low dense places, what they do is they generally put a whole bunch of brown people, quote unquote, bluck people. Thank you, Sensei. Sensei made it bluck. We don't like to say black because B is lack, and we usually say that a form of carbonization of an area where you bring a whole bunch of brown people, which black, brown, carbon beings absorb all light, all sources of light. Also, they mute areas by absorbing all the negative elf waves, also all the negativity, any murders that were done on site. They usually put a whole bunch of brown people there to mute those energies and clear it. And then after they've cleared it energetically by taking it in themselves, absorbing all the negativity, absorbing all the low elf waves, then the area is clean and clear. Then gentrification. They clear the area of these brown, carbon, melanin dominant beings. And once they remove these beings, now they start to have other types of people live in those areas, nice and clean and refreshed, as all the brown people absorbed all those negative low field energy within themselves. And now they're suffering from, forms of psychoses, forms of cancer. Usually the women, native women, especially brown women who are native, usually absorb by gaining a huge amount of weight, like the Samoan women, like the native women, the Polynesian women. They absorb based on spiritual attacks or energetic attacks, electric attacks. We tend to bulk. It's our nature to do so. So we bulk fat around us to protect ourselves from the attacks, and that's a form of absorption. It's also a form of a shield. That's where you get these brown women that are very, very round and very chunky, and you think that they're just fat slobs. Many people think that, and you have no idea what you're talking about. These are beings that are absorbing. Big Mama absorbs all the energy of everything around her. Big Mama in families is the one that absorbs all the shock of all the pain, of the sadness, of the attacks. That's why she's so big and round, because she's taking on all those energies and it's bulking her up. So, like sponges. Thank you. So what happens after these brown people are set somewhere in ghettos and hoods and clear murders, or there's graveyards of our indigenous people buried under those grounds. Once the area is cleared, gentrification happens, and you start seeing Starbucks showing up in the neighborhood. All the mom and pop stores are outbidded because now the rents are so high they can't afford to be there anymore. People are removed from their homes and encouraged to move to other areas. As newer people, as you see in Harlem, Harlem is different now. And if you don't know what Harlem looks like, many of you should go visit it now. Harlem, after years of drug-ridden streets and areas and a lot of murders and what have you, gentrification happened, I think 2000, and it began in 2000 and I think 2008, if I'm not mistaken. Many of my uptown people, if you remember, I think it began. I remember when DC as well. Thank you, Brandy. I remember when Bill Clinton went to play the saxophone in Harlem. Was it then? I think it's 2008. Someone can give me that number. When it began. Anybody from uptown knows when it began, because that's when all our bomb and pops places were moved out. They can no longer afford the rent there. They could no longer be there. So how is this all interconnected? How is this all related to the volcanoes that are now erupting in Guatemala and, of course, Pele in the Big Island? Because you cannot do dirt on a planet and not expect the same to be ricocheted right back to you. Gentrification has occurred on a mass level in every part on every inch of the surface of this planet since the inception of those who have colonized and have created very difficult situations for the indigenous, which are my people. So for this reason, whether she's provoked and prodded through cracking and fracking, she is now awakened and she is disinfecting and she is going through her own form of gentrification. Mama Nature is gentrifying all of the surface of the earth, and I am grateful. That is why I'm holding a native. This is one of our native mangoes. You don't see this very often. This is native to the Caribbean, to the Caribe, the Arak, and the Taino. This is Adalfa mango. This is something that's indigenous to our part of the world. And I think this is a peace offering to Mama Tiamat for what she is doing to clear off so that we can have a beautiful life. What many believe is a terrible thing happening, I would ask you, I would encourage you to look at all those that are being displaced on the Big Island, to look at all those that are being displaced in Guatemala. And the majority of those people that you're seeing there are not indigenous. And I will give you some markers to tell you why they are not indigenous and why Pele and Fuego, fire in the yard. This is a celebration, people. I told you the full-on pole shift was going to happen. When everyone thought I was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, saying that I was out of my mind, telling me why would I be preparing for this moment? Because the indigenous are coming back. The galactics are setting down on the table. Mother Tiamat has been pushed and prodded to her last end. She is clearing, disinfecting, and regentrification of the whole planet. And we should be grateful. Now, I will give you a little tidbit of how I know this, because sometimes you think I just talk from some sort of inner hatred or from a place of just talking smack. And I could understand this. But as an indigenous, I will tell you what has happened. Now, something that many of you don't know, and actually the galactics know, and geneticists and people who study heredity know this, but they won't tell you. Many of the allergies that come from people who are actually allergies that many of the indigenous have are pre-markers to allow us to protect ourselves and leave areas that are actually going to come into this type of cataclysm. Now, what am I talking about? I actually know for a fact, I love when I can give you facts, because facts can be proven. One of the qualities, and I will tell you something personal about myself and personal about many of you who are indigenous to certain locations where there's volcanic activity. Many people don't know this because, of course, Megler's doctors, the eugenicists who are running the United States of America, those Nazis who were relocated from Germany, Auschwitz, I think I have the name wrong. I apologize. Were brought over here to practice on a bigger community of beings called the United States people, the Americans, which they test on you daily with their white chickens with white feathers and red eyes, and all the homogenized fruits and vegetables that you're eating. They do all this because they don't like you, and they could care less of whether you live 100 years or not, whether you're healthy or not. And if you're sick, you actually promote more capitalism because you will be going to the mighty pharmaceuticals and utilizing all your monies until you die, like my father did, to be able to just live for a basic period of time, unhealthy, coughing, and just miserable. But I'm sorry, I'm being negative. Let me go back to my point. Okay, so one of the markers of the indigenous that many people don't know, that's how I know your gene pool. And that's how I know that who's living on the Big Island, majority don't have the same gene pool, because I have a marker for somebody who would be on that island. What is the marker? One of the things that they don't tell you is your allergies are pre-markers to allow you to know when to migrate or get out of an area of in case of danger or eruption of a volcano. Now, some of us who are indigenous to places, like myself, my gene pool, my part of my marker of the indigenous of where I come from, we have volcanoes. So a marker that comes up in our blood is called sulfur. We have an allergy to sulfur or sulfates. What is that marker? That marker is what some animals have who are also indigenous to places where there's volcanoes. What does that allergy do? Whenever there's going to be an eruption, a couple weeks before, there is a release of gases out of the ground that is sulfur and sulfite dioxide. It is released into the air. What happens is that you always wonder why the animals know. Yes, they're actually motivated by the magnetic shift. They feel it. But what happens is that when you're indigenous, you have a natural allergy to this sulfur that is released into the air. When that sulfur is released into the air, you don't know it. It's not a thought. It's not written in a book. You're not going to read about it. You feel it. When you feel this way, it will tell and motivate people to move. When you get this sulfur that comes out of the ground, as a native indigenous, which I am, you will come out of the ground and you and your family will naturally want to leave the area until you feel better. What they denote to us as a depreciative value, they will tell us we're sickos, that we can't tolerate certain things. For many people who take Cipro, all these antibiotics, which they mess up first of all, that's to mess up people who have these markers in their blood to protect them during these times of shifts in planetary and when the earth is doing her own thing. These are markers within the indigenous that will motivate us to leave certain areas so that we would not even be in the volcano. So right before Pele went off, I don't care if they were fracking for a while. Yes, darling, you know Martinique has the Pele. Woo! I love when you know this. Obviously, you know my island has Pele and it had an eruption. You know where my people are from. Because of this, we have markers inside of us. It's a survival marker, which people think are negative, but it's actually something to help us survive. And right before there's an eruption, at least a month before, we have a precursor that motivates us to leave these areas because we start to feel unwell. And we start to migrate out of those areas. Just intrinsically, innately, we do this. Just like the animals and so on. It's a marker. Just like there's certain markers inside of you. People always disrespect people with native hair, coily hair, curly, frizzy hair. Why do you have these qualities on you? It's because if you live in tropical areas where there is, first of all, and you know what's interesting, I'm going to go sidebar just for a second. The hair that you have denotes the environment you come from. Having thicker coily hair will protect your skull and your head from anything that falls down on you, especially in areas where you have a high amount of volcanic activity. Also, when there's depending on the hair texture, like mine would be more in the rainforest, you would see someone of my phenotype. You would see my copper skin, but you would see more of an indigenous woman with my type of hair, thicker, coily, frizzy hair, like the Polynesian women, like the women from Hawaii, like the women from the jungles of outside of the jungles of most places in Africa. Also, you would see them in Australia around certain places. You will have the thicker hair. It protects your skull. It also protects your head from the heat that comes from the sun. It also means that we're solar people. They're solar people, but we're jungle people. I always tell you I'm a jungle person. I've never had that. If you didn't think you knew that, I'm sharing that with you today. I'm a jungle chick and I'm proud of it. And I don't mind living in the jungle with my jungle animals. I remember telling that. I remember sitting in a group. It was so funny. You know I don't hold my tongue, so you already know as a young person I was not holding my tongue. I remember sitting amongst my girlfriends. They were from Sweden, Switzerland. They were visiting from the Netherlands, and I think some people from Germany. I forget. It was a bunch of my European friends from college, and they were sitting in the place, and I was telling them it was hot outside, and they were in New York City. We went to school together. Now I'm just sidebarring for a moment. So we're sitting outside. It's hot outside, and they can't take it. They're just like, it's hot, it's musty, and it's windy. And it's windy. It's humid. Anybody who lives in New York, you know when it gets hot and humid. My skin and my hair looks so magnificent. Wait. I gotta share this because this is self-love. You have to love who you are. You have to love your phenotype. A lot of people don't like themselves. A lot of people don't have issues with their natural things that are part of nature that made you perfectly for the environment that you were coming from. So I'm sitting in the midst, my European sex family, they're sitting with me outside. It was burning up. It was New York City. We were outside in a cafe. It was hot, humid. Everybody was sweltering. My hair looked like I looked like a goddess. My hair was nice and frizzed out. My skin was glistening. I was sweating, but I looked like I was straight out the jungle. And they were like, you don't even look like your face. I said, I'm a jungle chick. If you don't know, now you know. I was like, I'm good. I'm getting fed. I wasn't hungry. I just drank some alkaline water at the time. And I think it was a respect that they agreed. They loved it. They honored it. And there was so much dignity and self awareness with that it was so beautiful. And to this day, I talk to my girlfriends who are still from there, and they always say, yes, we know you're a jungle chick. We get it. I just had to add that little tidbit. But anyway, gentrification is happening. For the people who are living in the Big Island who, listen, I was going to buy real estate years ago. I remember going, and the realtor said, nobody with their right mind should buy any real estate on the Big Island. They sell it for really cheap, and the majority of people do not have the marker like myself. If they did, if they were the indigenous, listen to me, family, they would have been sick a month ago. Listen to me. No doctor will tell you this. Only doctors who know about genetics. They won't tell brown people or indigenous people that they have a benefit of being that way, living in these tropical areas where their ancestors actually existed, where the indigenous actually lived. If you go to Tahiti, if you go to Polynesia, you will see women that look like me. I have the same marker genetically as those same women. I have the same phenotype, same body type, same look of the indigenous. Listen to me, I said the indigenous, not the placators, not those who have moved there after the fact. I'm talking about the ones whose ancestors resided there. And if you look right now at Pele, look at how many of the indigenous are actually displaced. You will see very little. You know why? Because they probably got sick like a month ago and were not feeling good, and they probably relocated. I can't vest this out, but I'm saying the majority of people that are natives were probably not even there. Okay? Yeah, they do look like How I know they look like me is because when I go to Hawaii, when I go to Bali, when I go to a lot of these places, they think I'm indigenous from there. They look at me and say, oh, okay, that's one of you. That's one of y'all. They do it every time. Even when I had the babies, when I had my little ones, I would get on the plane going to Kauai, and going there to visit, and the people thought I was a native Hawaiian. So I had the same, but I do have the same. They're not wrong. I have the same genetic marker. So I am connected to those beings. I am connected to the indigenous here based on the fact that I'm a jungle chick from another region of a tropical area. Probably our families maybe migrated, our cousins were probably second or third cousins that migrated across long distances. They're in the Pacific, but it could have been a migrational pattern. Remember, the planets weren't, the ground was not separated by seas and waterways. That happened over time. Okay? So I just want to say, congratulations, Pele and Fuego. Congratulations, Mother Tiamat. This is your award. I know I have an ET. I had this cup this weekend. I'm sorry. I got this cup this weekend. I love my alien cup. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm gloating. It is not good for those. Now, let me say this. For all those who lost their lives, for all those who were displaced, I'm not making fun of them. I think that is tragic. I feel for them. And I really hope that those who are still there are able to leave the island with their lives at least, and just move forward. Move forward and go somewhere where they would feel more comfortable, or maybe they could live longer lifespans. But if you're trying to live in the tropics, all those areas that were taken over and suffered for gentrification from colonization are now being taken back. And I always feel like, don't start none, won't be none. You know the Bronx adage, don't start none, won't be none. You think that karma doesn't come because you don't see it for 10, 20 years. But 30 years later, it's a 3. That trifecta, that trinity. 30 years later, you darn Skippy will see some of that karma coming to roost its head and really level the playing field. This is in honor of the ancestors who lost their lives. Those are for the indigenous that were not able to make it this far. Those are for the indigenous that were displaced and dishonored and disrespected. This is for Mother Earth, who has been consistently abused and taken advantage of. This is for all of us. The pole shift is not something that is harmful to everyone. It is harmful to those who are placaters, who are empty seaters, who are gray affiliates, who are dark Kabbalists, who are occultists, who have benefited from the depreciation, the abuses, and the hardships that you brought to the indigenous on the planet in their local areas. I'm sorry, but I feel like this needs to be said. I feel like I am the person who more so can say this as being mostly indigenous from the Americas. And when I say I'm indigenous from the Americas, my family bloodline is mostly indigenous from the Americas. When I say the Americas, I'm saying from the Caribbean, from the tip of the floor of Florida, and also in Central and South America. Those are my indigenous people. And in Guatemala, we can get into that too, because many people don't realize in Colombia, in Argentina, and Guatemala, there was a high amount of infiltration and gentrification and abuses to the native indigenous there. And what's so sad about it is nobody talks about it, that the Spaniards went in there. All Latina countries will go and say, I love my Spaniard bloodline. I love that I'm Spanish. Why would you claim fame of the conquistadors who were the most hate out of all of the colonizers? I have to give props and credence to the most vicious, most diabolical, most abusive, most genocidal beings on the planet, and they were from Spain. They were the most diabolical and cruel beings. They murdered more than half of the population in the indigenous Americas, and most of the Latin culture. What you think are people who love their Latino culture, that is a form of Stockholm syndrome that comes from the barbaric nature of having to survive under a directly mutilating system, that if you did not take on the ownership of that genre, that Spaniard lineage, then you were murdered, or your wife was raped in front of you, or your children. So all this that goes on right now, that's going on in Latin America, what we consider to be Latin America, is a form of purification. So I say free the native and Guatemalans. I hope that the true natives will be able to come back online after the gentrification. I am grateful for this view of what is going on, of being able to observe this in my lifetime, so that I can share this with my great-grandchildren and tell them about the deeds, that they are to live well, they are to treat people well, they are never to talk about anyone negative, they are never to step on someone else to get up in a position, because it will come, and it will come and rear its dirty head when you least expect it. Free all the Aborigines. I'm in fire. Yes, the pole shift is fully online. I'm grateful for this. I hope that everyone enjoys the freedom that comes with this, the amount of clearing that needs to be done. And please don't worry, because the others like Alex Jones and all these others that are part of the problem on this planet, that are part of the system of the old boys that have only disforestized. All he does is talk smack, but I don't see him saving any rainforest, right? I don't see him going to the indigenous and trying to put everything online, but I would, if I did his lineage, if I took his blood work, because I'm into genetics, and I found out it was probably some of his ancestors that did a lot of dirt in displacing a lot of these indigenous people and benefiting off of the crux of these people. So to Alex Jones, of course, would make a wonderful livelihood off of scaring 90% of the people that are just like him. So I say kudos to Alex Jones. Keep doing what you're doing, because it is apocalypse for you and yours. It is apocalypse for those who have not acknowledged the pain and harm and mutilization of an indigenous people and the animals and the forest. And where is that going to be cleansed and cleared? When are we going to restore that? We cannot restore if we still have these old stoic systems. So let it burn. What's that song? I wish we had that song. Who has that song? I hope we have a DJ. I hope we get a good DJ for there's not going to be any children, but any of you who are from New York or from the East Coast, that song is like, we don't give a, let the mother burn mother, burn. I know many of you know me from the DJ sack when they play that. burn, burn and disinfect. Mama, we support you. We want the indigenous to come back online. Let her clean and clear. And I'm not saying, now listen, I didn't bring up complexions here. I'm not saying that all indigenous of the bomb.com. All I'm saying is that all the wrongs that were done are going to be cleared. Slate's karma is coming to rear its head. Now, not everybody. Now, let's bring it back some, because I want to make sure I make this clear. Not all lunars are involved in gentrification. Not all lunars have anything to do with the racial display of things on the planet. Now, yes, they may have come from a home court advantage, and that just may be part of what they had, but not all lunars. The majority of lunars did not have anything to do with the gentrification. This was a small sect of people, of beings, dark cabal beings, and they're not even human. Most of them are draconians and insectilians. They're not even human, reptoids. You know what I'm saying? So, but they've inserted themselves in certain lunar communities, but it's like 1%. It's like 1%. So please don't take this as some racial motivation, like, oh, lunars are going down. No, it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with a group of beings, 1% of them, demon seeds, empty seeders, draconians, archonic energies, dark cabal mofos who came on this planet and caused this kind of ish. I'm talking about those. Those are the ones I'm talking about. So let's just make that clear. I'm not talking about all lunars. You know, I got to keep that clear. But when I talk about the indigenous, these are people that look like me. And I will tell you, I am grateful and proud of who and what I am. I'm happy and grateful for my copper skin. I've always loved my copper skin. I get talked about terribly about my frizzy, curly, especially as a young person, my frizzy curly hair that looks like a mop, which I am grateful for now, because I don't really have to do anything but just wash my hair and go. Part of being a mother, though, too, because I think as a mother, I kind of lost the sauce in my hair. My hair just took on a mind of its own, but it looks real indigenous. I'm just saying, I'm okay with me, but I know for a fact, and this is being part of the genetic field, is that the majority of people who are indigenous look like me. And when people take over communities and act like they're indigenous and they have no phenotype of the indigenous, that lets you know there has been a form of gentrification, overtaking an area and then taking on the nationality of those people. Because if the Native Americans that are in North America don't look like me, they're not Native Americans. If the Native Americans in the Midwest don't look like me, they're not Native Americans. Most Native Americans are copper skin. I'm talking about quantified. Now, as a geneticist, if you don't hold the copper skin, you have the lowest amount of the indigenous. It's a fact. It is necessary to hold the copper skin because that is part of what the indigenous had. It allowed them to live in their areas, especially where there was full-on sun. Even the Eskimos have copper skin. If you look at the native and the native, I'm talking about not the ones you see now on television. I'm talking about the native Eskimos were dark copper skin beings. And that was in a cool area. So anyone who lives on the surface in these specific areas, full-on sun, had copper skin. Thick hair didn't have to necessarily be, the more coiled it was means the more sun. Usually, depending on what areas you had, the more coily your hair was. The more frizzy and curly it was, it just protected your skull against the sun. And it fielded off the energy of the sun. So you were getting fed information via your coils, okay? Yeah, no, I gotta keep it real, because when I meet someone and they tell me that they're Native American and they tell me that they're Native American and they look nothing like the natives, I just tell them, listen, don't insult me. I'm okay with whoever you want to be, but don't insult me as an indigenous. Don't come to me and tell me your name is Owl Flower or Red Deer or White Owl. Please don't do that, because you're insulting the native indigenous that actually have the quantified, mostly the indigenous bloodline in them. When you come to me and tell me that, and you have none of the phenotypes of the natives, it lets me know who your ancestors really were, and it insults my intelligence. Please don't do that. I don't insult them. I just tell them, and they check themselves every single time, because they may not know it, or maybe they've gotten away with being in circles where they've gotten away with telling people that they're native indigenous and they don't look like the native indigenous. If you don't look like them, you're not them. Okay, don't play games with this whole I'm Native American, but I look nothing like the natives. Because if we dug out the old bones, which they won't let us do, and we took the phenotype, which they won't let us do, and take the quantified genetics of the indigenous people, you will find out that majority of people on these so-called lands, free land that are indigenous, are not indigenous people. They're $5 Indians who paid for the nationality. They don't even know. They don't even know themselves. Their ancestors actually paid $5 to get the nationality of being Native American so that they can get the perks and the benefits of being indigenous. So I don't diss anybody. I just say, don't come to me with that BS. Don't sit in front of me and be disrespectful. Okay, you're out of here. and it's not disrespect to anybody else. But I'm just saying, don't come to, I'm not going to Switzerland and telling a beautiful, listen, they're so beautiful, the girls in the Netherlands. I'm not going to a native Swiss person in the Alps who's got this beautiful, they have the most beautiful skin. They have this beautiful porcelain skin. They have this really blonde hair. Sometimes it's very thick depending on where they are. Very thin noses, very thin lips, very refined features. I'm not going to go to a Swiss person and tell them I'm a native Switzerland person, even though I've lived there for generations. I wouldn't do it. It would be insulting to them. How are you from Switzerland? Maybe they were indigenous back in the day, but I'm just saying I'm not going to go to the Swiss Alps and insult a Swiss, beautiful lunar, beautiful features. She's got the phenotype of her ancestors for generations. I'm not going to go in front of her and say because I've lived here for 20 years, or my parents lived here 2 generations, that I'm a native Swiss person. That would be disrespectful. So I'm asking those who are, that may not know that they're pseudo-indigenous because they don't realize that their parents had paid $5 for the nationality and they look nothing like the phenotype. If you don't look like me or similar to me, and more, remember, I'm a certain kind of indigenous. So usually the noses can be very thin. Remember, the lips can be thinner. It depends on where you're from. Cherokee have thinner, more refined features. Higher cheekbones, more refined features, thinner lips. The eyes tend to be a little more doe-like. I don't have their quality and features. I'm not going to go and say I'm Cherokee either and insult the people. So I'm just saying, I check them real quick. And because I have a very ambiguous look, I rarely get challenged. Most people who try to challenge me are the males, and they learn real quick. You go toe to toe with FleurBrun. I know my history. I know I act ditzy and doofy sometimes. I know I'm a goofball. I know I look a little crazy, and I know I talk a lot. But one thing you can't go toe to toe with me is indigenous history, and I don't even talk about it. I actually have the genomes, and I worked with geneticists, so I talk about it and I know about it. It's like me going. I spoke to. Big up to my Armenian homies. Even like in Turkey went and took over the bloodline of the Armenians, and Native Armenians are actually indigenous to those areas right outside of Turkey, which Turkey came over and created genocide. They killed all those people. Those were indigenous Armenians. So you look at the beautiful Armenians. They're like what you consider to be like the gypsies. What people call like the gypsies. Are beautiful. They have like curly hair, curly frizzy hair, fair skin, sometimes freckles, very beautiful eyes. I know the gypsies look like the Greeks, very, very beautiful features. Turkey denies genocide, but they killed all the Armenians. And the Armenians here, big up to Denise, who I spoke on the phone. This is one of our, she actually lives in the Netherlands, but I actually did a kiki with her. We talked about this. They killed all the Armenians, and then the ones living there are terrified for their lives. So all the Armenians, who are beautiful and so rich in culture, and they had to basically give up all their nationality. They had to give up everything, even their way of tongue, their language, to be muted and to what is it called when you go into another culture? What is it called when they go into another culture? It's called, oh goodness, you know what it is. It's like they have to take on the ansage of the other culture. It's been totally taken over. The Armenians are beautiful. Assimilate. Thank you, Kathy. They had to assimilate. That's cruel. And their culture's so beautiful, rich. So when I talk, there's a lot of places like that, and it's not all in African. They're not all copper people who've been gentrified. Let's keep this real. It's not all copper people who've been moved off their land. There are others, like in native places where, like the Armenians live. Parts of, you already know, parts of Russia around Bulgaria. You go parts of Russia when you go around places. Germany. Remember, you had the Belgian Wall, who was built to separate cousins and people. I mean, this is not the first time we're going to talk about gentrification. So if I have to be fair and talk about gentrification, people that look seemingly like me, I have to also talk about the gentrification of the abuses that have happened in Europe with those who live in... You need to stop, Eric. Eric's over here making jokes. I can't, okay. I'm sorry if I yelled. I apologize. I'm so amped up today. I have some intel. Big up to the Cypher crew. Cypher's about to get some big time intel. Thank you, Lynn. Lynn, I'm about to blow spots in 3 days. I got some major intel. I'm gonna blow spots in Cypher. I may end up bringing it to the Secret Squirrel page on YouTube. Those who know me, or to Patreon, we're gonna bring it out, but I have to share it with Cypher first. We got some intel. I'm vesting out some of it. Some of the intel is galactic, and some of the intel is people to people intel. It's gonna be interesting, and I can only talk about it in 3 days. Why? I give myself time to vest it out. I never want to give intel, especially if I don't know if it's true. Some of it I know for a fact is true, but I want to make sure that I'm giving credence. They was trying to interrupt. Anytime I talk about agents, anytime I talk about something relative, the phone always goes off. Baby, I need those 3 days to get my issue. Aw, Maximus, you're okay. You're okay. It's really not you. It's the rest. People are too sensitive. Okay, so listen. Pele is clearing house. She's clearing off the environment. All those beings there, hopefully, I hope everyone goes to safety. That I do hope. I don't care if they're colonizers. I don't care if they're people that move there. Because majority, if you go to Hawaii, one thing I say with Hawaii is that Hawaii does have some of the most beautiful people, even if they had issues before they went to Hawaii. I've gone to Hawaii, some of the most kind-hearted. It's just the island, the beauty of the island. The people are just everybody, people from Germany move there, Australia move there, everybody moves to Hawaii because it's just so beautiful. It's got such good feng shui. It's just a beautiful environment. It's hard to be mean in the jungle. It's hard to be really mean in the jungle. It really is. That's why I say, when you see a lot of these beings that come and do harmful things to these indigenous people, you have to know that was some cruelty. That was some mean maliciousness, because it's very difficult for someone to go and see people living in the jungle cohesive with nature and not want to just watch them and be in awe. For you to want to disturb them and ruin them and destroy them and take over their land, it's a testament to your lack of consciousness. And actually, it's a testament to your non-species. You're not even being of a species that's natural to the planet. I'll talk about colonizers, but the real colonizers came to this planet and did all the dirt genetically to us. That's why we're always fighting, because you had all these beasts coming from these other planets, these draconians that are already warlike amongst each other. They came to this planet. They don't have any empathy for anybody. They don't even have empathy for themselves. I've seen draconians do stuff to draconians, and you'd be like, wow, if they could do that to their own species, that's why they do the most diabolical things to us. So I'm just saying, the real colonizers are really the beings that came here and disturbed the natural homeostasis of females that were coexisting here on this planet. We were a female group existing on Mother Tiamat. We were living cohesively with nature. We were able to give birth through the process of parthenogenesis. We did not require anything else outside of that. And I remember hearing some of the people talking about the gatekeepers of the, those who share similar sexual, they'll say that gatekeepers are like gay people are the gatekeepers of between worlds. They're the gatekeepers of the frequencies. But I will say this, I personally think it's something bigger than that. I don't think it's gay people that are the gatekeepers. I think it's the androgynous people. I personally think the androgynous are the only gatekeepers of anything. I think because the true beings that existed here were androgynous. They were female, because you have, in order to be a gatekeeper, you have to have a womb. And if you don't have a womb, you don't gatekeep anything. Having wombs matter. Having a womb matters. So the only gatekeepers on this planet Terra had wombs, women, and they were androgynous. Yes, they looked like tall females, but they were able to give birth to themselves. They were able to replicate themselves. So those are the only gatekeepers I know. Not anyone who's looking like the other sex. They are the other sex. They can actually give birth to themselves. Those are the only gatekeepers. So I'm just saying, you know, I know in the gay community you hear that a lot with the males, especially males say that a lot, that they're the gatekeepers, the gay males that are very feminine. And I understand what they're saying, but I think we need to keep it real, at least to my knowledge. The only gatekeepers can have a womb. So if you're a woman and you're hermaphrodite, yes, you are a gatekeeper, because you're able to, you're the balanced beings. You're actually the heirloom of the beings that resided here. You're one of them, and there's actually quite a few hermaphrodites are being born right now, if you don't know. And I know parents, coming from a field where I talk to a lot of doctors, especially pediatricians, I think mothers and parents feel a certain way about their children coming with that ambiguous, that androgynous kind of sexual disposition, or just, you know, the way that they're built. And I just say that we're going back into the first cycle. Divine feminine is in home court advantage. Because of that, you're going to start to see the androgynous being born, meaning not androgynous just by look, but the actual beings that were the original beings that lived here previously, and they all have wombs. Okay, it's not men dressed like women, and it's not women dressed like men. These are women that have both male qualities but female wombs in order to replicate themselves. Okay, the only way you can open a gate or have a gate key is to have a womb, because we have stargates between our legs, and we're the only beings, females are the only ones who are gatekeepers, meaning that you have a womb space and you are able to bring beings from all star systems, from all frequencies via your stargate through your legs. So that's why I tell you, sea stars, be very mindful of who you allow through your stargate. keep your gates locked until he has the frequency to match it, because if he's not matching that frequency, you want to make sure you bring beings through your stargate that are cohesive to the planet. Right now she's clearing up. We will only be allowed to bring higher field beings through those stargates. So make sure you watch your stargates and watch who enters those stargates, so that you're able to field in beings that are ancients and coming online right now. I think I had my rant for today. I had drum beats. You know, and I apologize if I insulted anyone, because, you know, occasionally someone gets insulted on my videos, and it's not purposefully done. But you said your stargate is closed. It's under renovation. That's what I'm saying. Renovate it, beef it up, clean it, make it all beautiful, get the feng shui on point. And then if you want to reopen your stargate, by all means, allow for, you know, your stargates, you know, to be open to those who are receptive to your energy, can only respect and honor that privilege to be able to be even exposed to your stargate. So I'm saying, you know, let me behave myself. This is not FleurBrun After Dark. Usually I go a little more seedy with the conversation. I got to be careful. You know, stargates have to be cleaned. Yeah, detoxing. A lot of stargates are, listen, it's okay. It's okay. But we need to take honor again. A lot of times, GMO soy, what's going on? GMO, Maximus says GMO soy and BPA socialization, homosexuality, has assisted in damaging the gay collective. I think there are many hurt people. Well, there is, what's happening now is there's been it's a couple things. See, remember, as above, so below. So even, like I said, with even the government fracking, invoking, like going like this, invoking Mother Tiamat to wake up and get pissed off. They did that in Hawaii. That's why she woke up and started shedding her red hair all over the place. Like, what? You waking me up, pissing me off? I was sleeping. You watch Moana. That's a testament to what's going on in Hawaii. That's actually predictive programming when you watch Moana. So that's Mother Tiamat getting pissed off from being fragged. But it's the same with the males. What's happened is that they knew there was a particular time when we go into the shift. Now, divine feminine's coming on the planet. So what they do is they know it's going to happen, but they quicken up the process. So what they did is they know that males will become more in tune to their feminine side. They knew that males naturally would be more empathetic, because a healthy society has males who have a good, healthy disposition with the females in their life. They have an admiration and respect for the divine field, and also the divine stargate. They take pride in that. But because we come out of patriarchy so strongly, that's been lost in the sauce. So you have a lot of hateful, spiteful, malicious males that were part of that old sect that did not have respect for the divine. So what happens is that these dark-browed bastards who go and do these that's what I get for talking smack. These these dark-browed beings who look through these they do Project Looking Glass. They always looking into future aspects of the future because there's different timelines. They look at the future and they see what happens. So they said, you know what? We know that males are going to become more in tune to themselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to pervert it. We're going to put tons of soy in everything. We're going to put BPA in everything. We'll put hyper amount of estrogen. We're going to give babies mothers. We're going to give all these women, especially in the hood and women of color, because melanin is very, very, very transformative. It'll start to transmute things. We'll give tons of brown mothers soy, and we'll put it in all communities, and the babies will start to show different dispositions sexually. That's what they did. So they purposefully put all this estrogen, making you eat feminine animals. All the animals that you're eating are feminine, are female chickens, female cows, female pigs. So all you're doing is putting all these males, and all they're doing is eating female everything. Whereas hunters only hunt male animals. They usually only hunt for males. And then they consume male animals, which makes their system more complacent, more balanced. But when you have males and you have a mass consumerism of males eating female waste, and then also you take in estrogen mimickers like soy, BPA. Mothers were told don't take tap water, get bottled water, but they had no idea they were giving their sons, their little baby sons, BPA, which is an estrogen mimicker. And then also in our society, you also had the problem with mothers not taking hormonal tests of their children, and the sexual dispositions of the children were showing up a certain way, just like the frogs, because we were seeing in the scientific mutation of the frog sexuality. Male frogs were starting to act like females. Frogs' endocrine system is very sensitive. So they're the first of they're the first of the species that will start to show, fish and frogs will start to show like when there's a leaching of chemicals. Remember all the landfilled places have tons of BPA bottles that leaches into the waterways, and it affects the frogs who like to burrow underneath the soil, and they were changed disposition-wise. But nobody will tell you when you go to places like in Europe, when they actually take tests of your little children before pubescence, and they find that the little boys or little girls have hormonal imbalances, they can actually give them a hormone to balance out their hormones so that they show up in the world the way they're supposed to. They're not being forced nutricide to be a certain disposition that matches what these dark cabal want. Okay, so it's very important as mothers be very proactive with you've heard of gay bombing, right? No, if anybody's in the army heard of this, they take bombs. They actually have literal bombs. These are bombs that they drop on places in the Middle East. It's called gay bombs. That's what they call them. I don't call them that. They call them gay bombs. They drop them in the Middle East. It changes the disposition of men. It makes them passive, and it changes their sexual disposition. Does anyone know that? So I'm not talking from a space of hating gay people. A lot of times, bigots are our gay sect. They tolerate me. They know it's not coming from hate, but I'm just keeping it real. And I'm telling mothers, be proactive with your sons. Do not give your babies, they have glass bottles, serve your baby, and do your water yourself. I told you, I've given you all the tools. I told you the company I use to purify my water, and it's only $175 for a 3-tier water purifier, right? You magnetize your water. Don't give your baby boys BPA, and read the labels. Stop putting soy. Soy is in everything. It's in hair stuff. It's in lotion. I mean, I went to Whole Foods. Whole Foods is the devil. Whole Foods has inverted sugar now. I've never. Whole Foods went from Ho to Foods. Whole Foods. It's not Whole Foods. It's not Whole Foods. It's Whole Foods. I'm reading I'm reading labels that I verified like 5 years ago. Now they're putting soybean oil in everything. You try to get, and they're putting apple in everything. Remember, I told you apple is something. My mother went to a doctor and they told her, don't give your baby girl. This is years ago, and I'm seasoned. They told my mother not to give me apple juice like that, and my mother said, why? She said because it stunts the growth. When have you gone to a pediatrician and they told you that apple juice stunts the growth? When have you done that? Right? You've never heard that? When I verified it, because I got older, so I don't know. My mother, remember, I have a matrix mom. She doesn't know why. She listened to the pediatrician. She was like, I'm not going to give her apple juice like that. Then you find out that apples are the devil. And then we realize the programming that we saw when they always giving you the poison apple, the apple is the devil. And try to get a juice with your children without apple. You will be surprised and shocked. Try to go look for some juice that does not have apple as an additive. I go and get, you already know, I try to get white grape juice, and I don't even like white grapes because I like the darker grapes. So you get the only one who has it is Honest Kids, has one grape juice, it's always gone because all the all the moms who know stuff, they're the ones getting all that grape juice. They don't go, it has no apple. Honest Kids is the only one who has it. Also, it's a new company. Oh, it's called Fraz something. I think it's called Fraz something. I'll share it with you one day, mommies. It's called Fraz. What is it called? Bratz. I think it's called Bratz. They're the only ones who make the clear white grape organic cracks. Thank you, Peace XOS. Yeah, it's the only one that makes that juice that does not have any apple. No, apple's the devil for little ones when they're little. Yes, honey. Listen, go to the bougie. I tell you, if I would lie to you, go to all the bougie places. When you go to mommies who are astute, they don't have apple in anything. That's how you know it's true. When my mother told me that, she was like, because I never gave my girls apple from my mother telling me that before I had children. So I stayed away from apples with them when they were little. Occasionally I would do applesauce every once in a while, like if they went to a play date. I was okay with them doing it every once in a blue. But because those are my grandbabies inside of my daughters, one thing I'm rearing, when you rear your children, especially daughters, you're rearing your grandchildren. So I know that I have to be very, very careful in what I allow in their bodies because that's my babies. So I make sure that, I take care of their wombs and their bodies like I would take care of myself. Okay, so I don't mess with apples with the little ones. And like I say, once in a while, they may go to some party. I don't mind that, but I'm not doing it in my house. I'm not doing it. Yeah, apples are the devil. That's why, look at the movies. And if you don't believe me, look at all the movies. What did they tell you? The poison apple. They always have the apple that, Sleeping Beauty was the apple that killed her. Look at all those movies, Eve and the Garden of Eden. What was it? The apple. Okay? Apples or something is wrong with the apples. They do something to the apples. And the doctor told my mother when I was a little girl, he said it will stunt my growth. Now, if it's stunting your growth, you know it does something else. Don't get me into the bananas. I'll have you not eat. Listen, I'm going raw. I've been on and off raw for like the last month. Usaki, you had an apple allergy. There's a reason for it. You can't eat anything. There's like they've messed up everything. You can't even mess, like I went to go try to get a tree, because I wanted to buy it's hard for me to get your bananas. I told you I have an allergy to bananas. I was like, how do I have an allergy to bananas? Then my little one has an allergy to bananas. I said, wait a second. Then I found out that remember back in the days, bananas used to have little black seeds? Nobody remembers that. I'm a woman of a certain age. Do any of you remember we're going to go on food. I was talking about Pele and we're going on food. It's classic. Remember when the bananas back in the days, the only seasoned parents would know that, okay, you do? Remember had a little black seed? How come the bananas don't have that nowadays? And they're potted. Bananas don't grow like everything else. They're potted. They grow out of shoots, right? How come they don't have little black seeds in them anymore? Nobody noticed that. And I have an allergy to them. I can't mess with bananas. That's crazy. Where did the little black seeds go? They're gone. Yeah, I don't even know when it was homogenized. So, but it doesn't matter if they're organic. And those big, bulky organic bananas are not natural. Those are homogenized. Bananas don't come that big. The little chiquita bananas, the little brown ones that you get from like Central and South America, those are more natural. Those are less homogenized, and they still have the seeds inside of them. So when you do, yeah, seedless foods, Dr. Sebi already told you, don't mess with any of those seedless fruit. Try to get a watermelon with seeds. You gotta basically pawn all your jewelry to get a watermelon with seeds. You can't get watermelon with seeds anymore. I remember when I was first dating my mate, I was late. I was supposed to go to the house to meet his mother, and I couldn't make it on time. You know why? Because I was on the hunt. I was on the hunt for a watermelon with seeds. I did not make it. I'm about that life. I will not listen. If I am on a hunt for something real, I don't play games. He was waiting for me. He was like, "Where are you?" He was like, "My mom is there." I was like, "I'm sorry. I gotta go get this I heard that there's these watermelons that have seeds downtown. I gotta go to I had to go and hustle. I had to go to like a neighbor. Wait. I had to go to like almost the hood to go get some seeded watermelon. This is crazy. I made it, but I was that is so funny. I was not gonna go. I was like, yo, I got a tip. There's a seeded watermelon down 20 miles away, and I can't make it to your house. Tell your mom I'm sorry. Tell her what's going on. His mother totally understood. She's a yardie. She's an island woman, so she understood. I was like, listen, I need to get this. I may not see it again. I was growing watermelons when I lived in Pennsylvania, but I can't grow it here where I live in Florida. It's just very hard. It's not, you need a lot of water because they vine and they get nice and plump. I can't do it here in Florida where I am. It just doesn't grow well. I used to grow it where I lived. I had a farm. Remember I told you I lived on a farm. I told you I'm about this life. You could have seen me looking just like this. I look exactly like I did living on a farm with the babies on my hips. I'd farm with the babies on me. Oh, dragon fruit. Oh, Maximus, I do like dragon fruit. I like it. And just be mindful, you should only eat fruit in season. Make sure, the oranges, listen, oranges aren't natural either. From my island, I don't know who's from I don't know who's from South America and from Central America and the south of the Caribbean. Our oranges are green. Our oranges are not orange. Only here in the States, you have these homogenized oranges. Our oranges are a little more bitter. Bitters are better from your stomach. All that sweetness isn't good for you. It causes gastric issues. My orange from St. Lucia and Martinique, we have green oranges. They don't look like these oranges here. These homogenized oranges that they dye them. No, I don't know what kind of, they're hybrid. There's some sort of homogenized hybrid. I've never seen, the green ones are the best and they're a little bitter. I think also in parts of Africa, they have the green ones. I think so. I think somebody told me something. I don't know if it's South Africa, one of the other places. Yeah, you need to eat bitters. In order for you to get rid of parasites, bitters kill parasites. A lot of the Caribbean people, you give their children bitters from young. You get them used to bitters, like soursop, all these things are bitter because, sweet limes. The only limes you should be having, all the limes are fake too. Only limes that have seeds are key limes. Key limes are small. Those are the best ones. I only mess with key limes. And you got to be careful because those key limes from Mexico and Trader Joe's, oh no, they don't have key limes anymore. But you got to be careful because all the key limes here in Florida, listen to this madness. We live on the East Coast. I know for a fact Dominica is a French island. I know Dominican Republic. I know Haiti. I know Bahamas. They all have key limes. Why are we ordering our key limes all the way from the West Coast? We get our key limes here from freaking the West Coast, from Mexico. Why are you taking fruit from a different region? See, it messes with your body. Listen, grow your own stuff. We're going through the pole shift. Listen, you found key limes, Melanie Wise, where'd you get them? Here in Florida? See, my neighbor has some in the backyard. My lime tree hasn't sprouted anything yet. We hustle. Listen, we hustlers here. She has limes, but there's not many limes, so we take them whenever we can. Oh. Yeah, And remember the Leo that I had an affinity for? The Leo that I had an affinity, many of you heard about the Leo that I was seeing for a long time. I liked a Leo for a long period of time. He actually bought some land for me. He did. or he's buying land for me and my people. I told him we're not moving to Central America. He's actually buying land for me and y'all in Central America. I told him I can't live there with my people. I said I'm taking my sea stars to South America, but he's trying to force me to live in Central America. You know, males, you have to listen to females. If you want to do something as kind-hearted as that, listen to what we say. Don't do what you want to do. See, this is where the patriarchy goes wrong. He's a Leo too. He bought land. He's buying land now. He showed it to me for me and my sea stars. He did for all of us. So Mary's trying to do it right now. I told him don't do it. I said don't buy. I said if you're gonna do stuff like that, if you want to buy land, buy it in South America. He bought I love our divine males. They do such beautiful things, but listen to what we say. Don't do what you want to do. And if you want to build with us, males, I'm giving some tips to you males who love us, who really adore us and want to make us happy, who really want to do wonderful things for us. We love you. We really do. But we want you to honor and respect we're women and we know what we want. Honor and respect our wants and needs. Don't do what you want to do. Honor what we want. Okay, Team Sag. See, all the Sagittarius know what I'm talking about. Listen. I don't fall for just males doing things like that. Some women will be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to Central America. No, I'm sorry. I'm about this life. I'm gonna go where I want to go. You're not gonna sidebar me. I'm going to South America. You could buy land all you want. You're gonna be there with your other sea stars, all lonesome. It ain't gonna be with FleurBrun. And my Taurus wouldn't like that very much. Let me behave myself. Oh, a lot of you are coming to the conference. I'm looking forward to your conference. Everyone coming to the conference. It should be very, very, hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. It is very sweet. I'm grateful that he decided to do that. He's a Leo. He's a very good guy. Very loving, very handsome. So, you know, anyone's looking for someone who just bought a whole lot of land. There's a Leo who's quite available. You'll see him at the conference. He'll probably be at the conference. He's handsome. Yeah, he's Dominicano. He's handsome. He's wealthy. He's cute. I like him. I like him handsome. Good fatherly figure. You know, I appreciate good men. Woo! Bye in the yard. Bye in the yard. I'll behave myself. Anyway, I went sidebar. Welcome, Pele. I am grateful to Pele. I'm grateful to Fuego. I'm in honor of you changing and terraforming the land back to what we know, more cohesive for us. I am really, Dollface, I want to talk to you too. I know you do. Don't worry. We're going to have a conversation, Dollface, okay? Because I'm going to make the announcement on Cypher, and part of this intel, I want to talk to you personally. So I'll get to you. But again, let me fill out the information. You know, it takes me 3 days. Let me make sure everything is right in the intel. The galactic intel is always on point. One thing I said was when I get anything from the galactics, it's 100%. But anything human bounds is always infiltratable. You know what I mean? You gotta be careful with those things you get from humans, because humans always have agendas. So when you get intel from humans or whistleblowers, there's always an agenda. So I always have to make sure that even with the agenda that it's right. At least I'll always tell you if it's 80% proof. I rarely ever tell you anything less than that, because I feel like if it can't be sourced out, I wouldn't even waste time. Okay, so I'm just like, I'm a Sagittarius. Sagittarius are about understanding things. We tend to talk about things we understand. So we're good researchers. Like we'll look through things for days, weeks, months, years. We do that naturally as Sagittarius. Okay, yeah. Hey, Dwan, grab it. Fire in the yard. We got fire going on in Guatemala. And that's also why I don't want to live in Central America. See, this is why the Leo doesn't listen to me. Who wants to be in? I don't want to be in Central America. I want to be in South America. Get right. There's a reason why I'm going to do my exorcist to South America. If I want to go to Central America, I would have been there already with Nature Knot and his fake tribe. As many invitations as he sent me, I would have been Nature Knot. Nature Knot wouldn't have been Nature Knot. He would have been Nature Thought. I would have tricked him out. I would have had him cleaning the laundry like he has that little girl. What's the name? What's the girl's doing? I would have had him cleaning laundry. I would have had him praying for his soul. I would have had him doing some positive things and planting some seeds. He wouldn't have been nature not. He would have been he would have been doing proper things if I was over there in Central America. I don't play games like that. You're not gonna sit in the house on electronics when we got all this beautiful land. He had the most pristine land in Costa Rica. That was absolutely gorgeous. Do you know how much stuff we could have planted there? Do you know how? Oh my gosh, we could have had soursop. We would have had we would have had guineps. Oh my god. Oh, we would listen. That's what I'm saying. You know he's not about that. Like anybody in nature with that kind of if the land was really rich, we would have had food for days. They were going to markets every day because they were sitting in the house with electronics on their laps, getting all kinds of low field frequency. They didn't even utilize the land. I can't. I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to bring him up. I'm trying to purge him out of my. He's like a parasite in your mind. You got to purge him out. I'm going to disinfect him out my mind after this, after this share. If you notice, I purged him out. Yeah, I mean, when you have that amount of land, listen, I see land as an opportunity to feed my family. That's how I see land. I see beautiful land. I see land an opportunity to grow stuff because in Florida it's a little different than when I was Northeast. Northeast, I grew different things based on the temperature. We have a lot more voracious type of, like the lizards like to bite up all your peppers. I didn't know that until I moved here. The lizards will go and bite your peppers, and they won't just bite one pepper and eat the one up. They'll take bites out of every one of your perfect pristine peppers and ruin all your peppers or your tomatoes. I had no clue. So that's why here in Florida, it's better to grow fleshy things, like things that are not as. That's why you have bananas or mangoes that have that protective citrus things. They have protective. That's why their skins are so thick. So things don't really are not encouraged to bite through them. You know what I mean? Other than a human. It's interesting. Coconut, they can't bite through those things, but little things, they're reptiles. They bite through everything. All my peppers. It pissed me off. For the first 2 years I was here, I was battling with the reptiles. I had a big mama black snake. This is Tales of FleurBrun in the gardening. Remember, I'm not used to having snakes in my garden at all. If we had snakes, it was little green snakes. Here in Florida, I had a big black snake. Listen, she came out. It took her like 5 minutes to move with her entire body. I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to have to wear boots out here. Yeah, mama snake, she gave birth to these little cute little black snakes with red marks on their backs so that the birds wouldn't eat them because they would think they're poisonous. The black snakes are beautiful. You've never seen anything like them. They're gorgeous. They do. They keep, thank you, Poison Arrow. They keep all the mice out of all the vermin. They keep all the vermin out of your garden. So they're gardeners. They're wonderful gardeners. They're beautiful. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. The black snakes here they're not aggressive. The other snakes like the cottonmouth, what's the other one? There's another one, the cottonmouth and the, what's the other one? The rat, it's called the rat something. The rat something. Those are the ones who are those are the ones you have to watch out because they're venomous. But the blacks, water moccasins. Thank you, Eric. You know, right? The water moccasins, and they don't back off. When you see those in your garden, you know that they have venom. You know why? Because they don't back off. The black snake runs from you. She'll go away. But those gray ones, listen to what color they are. They come gray. See, everything gray. Those gray things, you got to be careful of some of those gray reptiles. Because they'll stand their ground because they know if they bite you, you're going down. They don't care how big you are. They were like, yeah, FleurBrun, you big, you hefty, but we could take you down in one bite. So they tend to stand their ground. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, but when you garden here, you have a lot more snakes here, so it's a little different in Florida. And I'm sure in South America, you got anaconda, which are like the size of people in the jungle, and spiders that are like, I already seen a spider the size of my hand, but you got spiders like the size of your hand that eat birds. So, you know, we got to take that in consideration in South America. Oh, it's interesting. No, I mean, it's beautiful. That I don't listen. If I'm part of the planet, if I'm really a part of nature, why would I be fearful of anything? I should be working with nature, not against it. You know, you have We've been so colonized in our minds and reared by colonizers in the educational systems that we hate and we fear things. Like we pick dandelions. The Italian women in New York City, when they come from Italy and Sicily, used to come in our gardens and pick all our dandelions. They used to pick them and the leaves themselves. And some of the women were so ignorant. They'd be like, look at those foolish women coming. And my mother knew. She said that's what they make tea. It's good for liver. A dandelion is good for liver, for cleansing, for juicing, for putting in your food. These Italian women knew this. So they were picking all the dandelions. You know what I mean? So we have to be a little more mindful and just more respectful of nature in itself. Everything serves a purpose. I told you about the spiders on my girlfriend's deck. She built this beautiful deck. And she had spiders all underneath it. And I was like, who's going to see the spiders? She was like, I want to get rid of them. I said, why? She said, because I don't like them being underneath it. I said, do you have any mosquitoes up here? She said, no. I said, do you notice everybody else has mosquitoes? She said, yeah. I said, why do you think you don't have mosquitoes? She thought about it. She was like, the spiders? I said, yes. The spiders are not bothering you. They're underneath your deck. They're getting all this mosquitoes like moisture. They tend to come up. They lay their eggs in water, or when it rains. So the mosquitoes will come from the ground up when they're about to fly in, at dusk time. So who do you think catches them is the spiders. If you take away and you start spraying all the spiders, killing all the spiders, then you're going to have a bigger pest problem. The spiders aren't bothering you. It's the mosquitoes that are going to eat you up. We have to be more mindful of things like that. We think that anything aesthetically pleasing is proper, but really a lot of these aesthetic things that we do are based on beings that are not from those regions. You don't have to cut grass. Go in the woods. Does grass look like it has to be cut? No, it's beautiful when it grows, and it kind of just grows at a certain length. And then there's animals that usually come around and graze that grass and cut it, natural grass cutters. You know what I mean? I had bunnies in my field. They ate, I had I had a lot of acreage of land, but they come and eat up a lot of the grass things with their babies and so on. They graze the grass. Let Mother Nature she creates things perfectly. We're so imbalanced in the way we think of things. You know what I mean? I let the babies I used to let my babies, when I'm gardening, sit in the dirt and play with the worms, right? They'd see grasshoppers and they wouldn't hurt them. They would see the grasshoppers and point at them and try to push them along. I mean, where do we go? Where are we going? And then you wonder why you have things like Pele causing people to scream and cry. And if you know there's an active volcano, why are you building a house on there? Why are you building a house of active? When I went to Hawaii to look for property, they told us don't go. The realtors told us only insane people would build property on the Big Island because it's an active volcano. And then you're upset that your beautiful, pristine, gorgeous houses are being burnt up. Come on now, common sense. I mean, and then they want you to feel sorry for them. See, this is a colonized mindset. Like we just want to go and we want to go to somebody else's land and we want to build wherever we want to build and we want to take all our money and show how wealthy and rich we are. Now, how rich are you now? Now that your houses are gone. I hope you have some good insurance because I'm sure they didn't cover you much for that volcano insurance. It probably was like, sign the dotted line. We're not covering if the volcano erupts because they would be insane to do so. You knew where you were moving. Big up to Pele. I'm sorry, family. I'm a little hostile today. I apologize. I just had to speak about the Native Indigenous people from these arenas that we need to go back and be, we need to honor. And no Starbucks. No, I don't. Remember, I'm off caffeine. I've been off. I drink Starbucks. I do. But I've been off caffeine. What is it, 3 weeks, family? I think it's like 3 weeks. Congratulate me. I've been off caffeine for 3 weeks. Other than chocolate. Like I have chocolate every once in a blue. I only have chocolate one time. Women generally when we have cravings, I only have cravings for chocolate like one time. Thank you. I'm off caffeine about almost 3 weeks. I do decaf. Yes, I do still go to Starbucks, and I know decaf has traces amounts, but I be grateful that I'm not high on Starbucks. And it makes it easier because I just feel like it's not healthy for me. And I could tell it wasn't healthy for me. And my tummy feels better without the caffeine. It really does. But, and I got to talk about the chocolate. I hate when I sidebar. Everybody listens to these videos. I hope nobody gets pissed off because I make these videos. Listen, I had to show you this. I want to show you something. So look at this. Can you see this properly? Now look at this. I don't like rice milk. Now listen, I bought this purposefully. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you the back. Okay. Okay. Now, let me tell you something about this. Okay, listen, I don't like rice milk. Why I tell you not rice milk? Because rice milk has traces of arsenic. But listen, I'm going to tell you something that pissed me off. We have grapes today. Okay, listen. I went to the health food. It's not Whole Foods. It's another it's a mom and pop's health food store that's in my neighborhood. I love it. I get a lot of my stuff. I found a new deodorant for my little ones. It's really good. It's by Green Beaver, the same company that I use for their toothpaste. That's from Canada. I really loved it. I verified it. It's wonderful. But I went to go buy chocolate, right? And they have a Willy Wonka bar. I was craving chocolate. I wanted good chocolate too with Keiko. So I went to go get a chocolate bar, and I saw this big, huge Willy Wonka. I was like, oh, I'm getting that chocolate bar. I'm gonna save it for like a month and take like little pieces. So I go and read it, and I read everything. I will read everything. So I turned the back, and I read the chocolate bar, soy lecithin. Okay, listen to me. This is a company I've known for a while. I said, what? So I said to the guy behind the counter, I was like, do you know they have soy in here? He's like, no, they didn't. I said, yes, they do. And I showed it to him. I said, soy lecithin. So I went down. And I went through, listen, family, even the Green Acres one. I went through every chocolate bar, one by one by one. The ones that I verified about 5 years ago, they all have soy lecithin. They all have soy lecithin. Every single one of them. In a health food store. And this is not Whole Foods. It pissed me. I couldn't believe it. I said to him, because I know he felt bad because it's a Whole Food store, and I'm showing him that he needs to start getting different companies. He needs to get other stuff in there. And I looked at everyone and I said to him, this is crazy. I said, do you realize that you have soy lecithin in every one of these bars? I was like, when did that happen? We didn't even know it happened. Some of these, like I said, I verified some of these companies. They all Whole Foods. All right, that's what I said, Eric. It was Whole Foods. All of the chocolate had, now, you know what I did after that? I was like, okay, I didn't know this. Let me go and look at regular chocolate bars at the CVS. So I went to CVS right around the corner, and I went to look at the chocolate bars. I looked at Reese's peanut butter cups. I used to love Reese's peanut butter cup. I can make it raw. I make the best raw. Oh, I'll make that for you one day. I make the best raw peanut butter cup that you could ever taste. I mean, it's sinful. It's like an orgasm has taken over your body, and you can't ever come back to reality. I'm serious. It is so good. And I make it big because it's raw. It's not, you're not gaining weight from it. A matter of fact, I'm going to make this, I'm sorry. Wait. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, so I went to go to CVS. So I looked at the Reese's Buttercup Cup soy lecithin. I went and looked at the Hershey's bar. Remember Hershey's, a classic Hershey's bar? My little girl, my mom tends to buy my girls Hershey, the dark chocolate one. She likes to buy my girls that sometimes. I turned it around. What is in it? Soy. I looked at the Twix. You know Twix? I used to like Twix. Twix has that caramel thing. They have a vegan version when I was actually in the Key West. They had a vegan version of this. It was really, really good. Every single one, yes, every single one of them had soy lecithin. Did you know that? I didn't, listen family, I didn't know that. I had no clue. I went to look at it and every Snickers, Twix, I had no clue, Sensei. I couldn't believe it. Death by soy. We need to do a documentary on this. It pissed me off. I was like, wait a second. When did all this stuff have soy? So family, they're trying to nutricide you with female animals for you who still consume flesh. You're eating female, especially you males. If you're still eating chicken, especially the chickens. If you males are eating chickens and cows, you're eating female cows, you're eating soy. And a lot of you, I'm gonna keep it real right now. I know I went sidebar from Pele and I'm gonna say something, males, and please don't get insulted because I have to help you out because I tried to help you before. This is only for the males, okay? Listen to me. Your penises are not working. The magic wand has stopped working because you're eating estrogen all day. Now I know males who are unfortunately it does not mess with them as well. There's a few of you. There's a few. But I'm going to tell you a secret. Stay away from the soy. because it's messing with your sexual paralysis. And also it's making you real female like some of you bicker like girls. I'm not disrespecting you. I love you. I honor you. I'm only telling you from love. Some of you are not able to last as much in bed because you're eating too many soy. You're drinking out of water bottles that are plastic. You're eating soy all day. A lot of you watch porn and masturbate too much. I know this is not FleurBrun After Dark, and I know I'm sorry. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying a lot of you males are not looking like males anymore because you're eating too much feminine things. You're consuming too much femme fatale things, and it's hurting you. It's not making you attractive anymore. Your pheromones are off. You're not able to hold yourself in the bedroom anymore. I know your girlfriends won't tell you. I know they lie to you, but they tell me. They call me on the phone and they tell me that in bed, a lot of you males cannot hold a torch long enough to even bring them to the finish line. I'm being honest, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but I think if I don't tell you, then you're just going to ruin the lives of other females that you engage with. Stop eating soy and stop eating female animals. If you're going to eat meat, eat meat. I know Robert is laughing. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's affecting their sperm count. I'm helping you out because your girlfriends won't tell you, but they'll call FleurBrun on the phone. And some of you, their men are on here right now. They'll call me on the phone and say, listen, he's not really like that anymore. And I said, it's the soy. It's really a problem. So I'm just asking that you just stop, read all your ingredients. I love males. And listen, hemp protein is a good protein for those working out. Hemp is good for males who are vegans. You can do other things. I'm sorry. I have to do it because if I don't do it, I'm a mother and an auntie. I'm not coming like a young, unseasoned female here. I could be your auntie and your mother. Okay, so I'm not coming to you. Eric is making jokes. Eric, you're not making this easy. I'm just saying, just be mindful. That's all. Because I'm saying if we start not being able to have sexual relations with each other, the society will totally melt down. It will. Because now we'll just have men who are acting very, very female-like. And I'm not talking about the gay population. Please, our gay males, please don't come into this conversation always thinking I'm being anti-gay. I'm really not. I'm talking to regular heterosexual people right now. I'm talking about some of you males bicker and act very effeminate and very emotional because you're eating too much soy. You are. Stop eating female animals. And if you can't hunt, I'm just saying hunters, I would prefer, listen, I'm an animal lover. I've been an activist before most of you were born. You have no idea why I became a vegan, why I became a vegetarian. I was a vegetarian. I change on depending on my nutritional state. So sometimes I'm vegan, sometimes I'm a vegetarian. I switch on and off. I just call myself a veggie girl because I don't really label myself. Sometimes I'm vegan, sometimes I'm vegetarian, whatever my body requires. B12 is probably where I lack sometimes. So sometimes I become a vegetarian for a long period of time to get more B12s. But males, you got to get it together. Okay. Just if you're going to hunt, I would prefer you be a hunter if you eat meat and go and hunt male venison. I would prefer you do that, or male animals, because you're being nutricide and it's affecting your sexual paralysis. It's affecting your social, the way you come out socially. And it's going to cause all kinds of testicular issues with you, if not now. I know more males who are taking Viagra than I've ever heard of in my life. And it's not because they just want to do it for fun. They're doing it because they have to. And yeah, population control, Maximus, I agree. And I think, and again, nobody wants to have this conversation, right? Because they think, oh, this is embarrassing. I could, like I said, I could be your mother, your auntie. If you're not going to get it from mommy or daddy or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, I'm going to tell you. Just, stop, be mindful. And even look at this chocolate. Look at this chocolate. I can't eat rice milk, but I have to get a chocolate. This is what's happening to the penises in America. I'll stop. But I'm just saying, I have to get a chocolate that is rice. I don't have to. This is the only one I found that had this. I'm just saying, I wanted a piece of chocolate. So I did get this. Oh, what did you say? My university professor told me that the whole class about soy and feminizing agendas. Absolutely. That's not healthy. It's not healthy. We're all our warriors are locked up in jail. When the pole shift happens, you can't have a male who's very feminine trying to protect a female. He's going to run for his life. That's a very feminine thing. Women tend to protect and we tend to hide. That's, we have to be warrioresses now because a lot of the males are not warriors because they're eating too much soy. Their passivity, they're becoming more passive. And then fluoride, take on fluoride, they're flooding all the jail systems with all the warriors with fluoride, so it's dumbing down the males. It's making them passive, and it's also it's calcifying their pineal glands. So they don't even have a connection to source anymore. So that's why some of these men become more heinous when they come out of jail. They say it's from being around all the criminals. No, it's not. Go to Russian jails. Those men come out like men. When you go to Russian, go abroad. Go to some of the prisons abroad. The men don't come out all quote unquote gay. No, they don't. They come out as men, like heterosexual men still. Only here in the United States. And they'll tell you it's because of men having sex with other men. That's not only the case. It's because they're putting fluoride and they're putting tons of soy in their food. So they're they're feminizing these men. They're breaking down these warriors and they're nutriciding them, homogenizing them in jail. So when these men come out, you wonder why they're raping their nephews and they're having sex with other males because they've been homogenized. Okay, and that's purposefully done. They take your warriors and they take them and they put them in a jail, and they basically have Mengele, who's a Nazi geneticist, he came here for the for nutriciding people, and they've changed the disposition of males. So now what happens is that you go around these males, if something pops off, I've seen males leave before a female. I've seen males run out of a room where there's guns and a female hold herself. Remember that young lady who held it down with her son in the house? It's not smart, but she held it, and the dude ran out the window, and she got killed. Remember that? Come on now, that's soy. I blame soy for that, for his behavior. I blame soy for that. I really do. I blame all this crazy. I blame the music. I blame apples. I blame the white feathered chickens with red eyes that you guys are eating. If you're eating chicken, I don't care unless you go now. Big up to Her Story Too, whose show I was on in the Netherlands. These young ladies are from the Netherlands, and they let me know. I did not know this until the show. Big up to the young ladies. They let me know that their chickens that they eat and consume out of their farms are not white chickens with white feathers and pink eyes. They actually have the natural brown chickens with brown eyes in the Netherlands. I had no clue until I did the show. I said, you guys don't have the red? No. So we're eating homogenized genetic foods that are carcinogens because you eat that feminine white chicken with pink eyes. What do you think? Have you ever seen that chicken in public? We have brown chickens here in Sweden too, right, Sensei? Yes, you do. You have brown chickens. It's healthier. And Europe has better standards of eating than, I told you, United States of America, their goal is to kill you. They don't want you to live very long. Big up to my granny, who's 101 going 102. I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful of her gene pool, and hopefully I know I'm gonna be here for at least 3-4 generations later with my great-great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. I'm gonna be here. I will be here healthy, and my mind will be full and robust and beautiful and healthy. That's my goal. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna make sure. I saw my granny do it, so I have a bar, and she's got healthy mind. I'm gonna make sure I'm healthy, and I'm here for my grandbabies. So I have to make sure I hold it down healthy. But some of you have to keep it together. Stop eating the female chickens. I'm sorry, males. I don't want to hurt your feelings, and I don't want to do it. But your girlfriends are not going to tell you. Your wives won't tell you. Your mothers won't tell you. I'm going to tell you what nobody will tell you. Stop eating female animals and start to eat things that are more masculine, and your sexual prowess will change. Also, your mindset will change. You'll be better lovers. You'll be better husbands. You'll be better partners, and you'll love yourself better. You'll have a better disposition within yourself. So I want you to be healthy, because it doesn't matter. You can't do for anybody else if you're not even doing for yourself. I want you to be healthy within yourself, because partnerships are breaking down at a rapid pace, and it's not because of anything else but nutriciding of the sexes. They're doing so much to tear down the family system, and they're changing the disposition of males. Okay, you've never seen a society with so many asexual males in your life. Okay, asexual and homosexual males. If you think that's natural, I'm not saying homosexuality is not natural, but I'm saying is that you wouldn't get it to the greatest degree that you're getting it now. Part of that is coming from nutriciding. Some people are born that way, absolutely. But when you're starting to see males who are having hormonal issues and their mothers don't know, and that's just a hormonal issue that shows up pre-pubescence, that can actually be rectified with hormones to balance out their system that's been so out of balance from eating so much soy and BPA. Okay, that's it. So I just think that needs to be addressed. Stop being little children about it, and stop thinking that you're these wonderful lovers when you're not. You're making women frustrated, and actually you're making women want to go to other women because they're finding it more satisfying to be with a woman who understands them than men. I mean, it's causing all kinds of ripples in the relationships. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have you all paranoid for the rest of the day. I'm sorry. I'm out of control. The men have to love themselves. They have to. I know. Loyal makes family. They have to love themselves enough to know better. I mean, if they're having issues, men have a tendency, and it's not all men. Let me not blanket the statement, but a lot of men have issues where they don't want to tell other men that they're having these issues. They keep a lot of this to themselves, and a lot of them don't necessarily want to go to doctors to address it. So they end up having these systemic problems mentally. A lot of times males feel depressed or they're sad. They don't want to get help. And they don't share it with their homies because they feel like it makes them less than a man. And I think that's the problem. I think if we're going to have change, they have to want to change themselves. They have to want to acknowledge these things. Silence is banter for injustice. If you don't acknowledge something, you can't change it. They have to do these things. And women, stop lying to these men. Many of you are sitting there having sex with these men, telling them the bomb.com, saying that they're wonderful lovers, moaning and groaning when you know that he's not a good lover. And you know why he's not a good lover? It's because he's eating crap all day. And he's not healthy. And he's not healthy mentally. And he's probably mean. Why lie to him? I'm honest. I don't get fans for being that honest with my male, but I'm honest. Listen, and it's not coming from a selfish place. It's coming from it's coming from a place of love. If I love myself, I desire to be with a partnership that shows a healthy state of self-love. And also I want him to love what he is to me, and I want him to show up in the world beautifully, whether he's with me or another female. It's not just for me to want to tell him this way so he can go to another female and and disappoint her sexually or disappoint her mentally. It's my job. So if we don't work out, at least I say I helped him for the next female that he gets with, and maybe it's a more cohesive relationship. We got to stop being selfish. It's not, you know what I mean? So start being honest with your males. And if he doesn't like you for being honest, then he's not for you. Okay? If he doesn't like you being honest and not being mean, don't be mean to him and say, "Oh, you suck as a lover." No, just say, "Listen, I would love you be more attentive. I would love that you take care of yourself better. I would support you in doing healthy things. Let's go walking together. Let's work out together. Let's do yoga together. Let's meditate together. Let's eat well together." I mean, good partnership should be balanced in that way. I think that's healthy, and I think it's not coming from a place that you judge him because maybe you're not a good lover. Maybe you haven't learned yourself in your body, so you don't even know what the cues and hues are of what he does. So you have to take that ownership as a female yourself to learn your body and to love yourself and to show up in the world in a better place. And then your partnership should be, a reflection of that, a healthy reflection of that. And believe me, I've been in an opposite situation where my partnership didn't show that. But one thing I say with the Nazi when I was with him is he did, listen, I was a juicer. If any of you know me, some of you know me from my real world. You came to my house. I used to juice all the time, especially when I had the babies. So when I had the babies, I wasn't giving them food because I grew, I think I told you, I grew 70% of my own, 70 to 80, depending on the year I yielded. So when I'd have company come over, because I didn't leave the house a lot when I had the babies, I just did it. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had a toddler and a little baby, newborn. I juiced for everybody. So my husband loved coming home to fresh juices. He loved it. The Nazi. And the Nazi was still Nazi, but probably he would have been a worse Nazi had I not juiced for him. He loved what I juiced for him. He was a meat eater, so I would go to the farm where they killed one cow, and I knew where the cow was grazing, and it would only kill one cow a month. And because he ate meat, I loved him. I didn't want him consuming all the garbage out there. He would get one cow, and it would be one cow that was killed once a month. And when they slayed it, they sealed everything. So the cow was killed within that month. And when you're cooking the food, he could taste the difference. It was killed almost in the process like a halal, like a kosher way. So, I mean, he tasted the difference. And I did that because I loved him. I wasn't a meat eater at that time, but I knew he was. And I made sure that if I was going to live this astute way, I made sure that my partnership was going in his meat eating. At least he was eating healthy. I would get fresh eggs, brown eggs every morning. From not every morning, but they would have fresh eggs that were laid that morning, and I would get eggs for him. So I did that. So I lived that world. So, you know, and I mean, I went to the farm itself. I was living on a farm, and I went to that place and got fresh eggs, and you could tell the difference between the eggs because when you broke the eggs, they were bright yellow like the sun. All these orange, dark eggs, those are old eggs. Many of the eggs you're consuming. That's why it's not good to eat eggs, and it's good that my little one has an allergy to eggs. All the eggs that you're consuming are old eggs. They've been on the market for 3 and 4 months. It's sometimes 3 and 4 months. I'm just saying. So, you want a woman like me, Erica? Are you so sweet? I'm just saying, no, I would, no, if you're going to be in a partnership and you're not evenly, if you're eating with a little different, type of eating habits. I don't know many of you who are dating vegans. If you're a vegan, how many of you actually have a vegan person? Most of you have flexitarians. Some of you are with flexitarians or pescatarians. So if you're eating with someone like that, I'm not going to be disgusted. That's the partner I chose. I have to make it cohesive, but also I want peace of mind because I know I'm an advocate for animals. I'm not a fan of animals that are locked up and killed heinously with fear and see mothers the babies ripped from the mothers and they can't drink their own mother's milk. I'm not okay with that. So if I picked a partnership where he was still consuming meat, I would make sure that if in the partnership, it has to be balanced in that way. I couldn't live with myself being with a partner who is okay with murdering, with just classic animals being murdered with no mindset to it. You know what I mean? It was my personality. So I'm just saying, yeah. Anyway, so that's my rant for today. I'm sorry. I went all kinds of sidebar. We went on to food. I think we went on to food a little sooner after Pele. Gentrification. Anyway, family, where's all my bracelets? I thought I had more bracelets on. I think I lost bracelets. I think I lost bracelets along the way. Anyway, I just want you to all to think better and be better. The poll's just on and popping, as you've seen. Yeah, I'm gonna make some. I actually want some peanut butter. I'm gonna make the peanut butter cups. Actually, maybe I'll make it for you one day on. If I fed you listen. I feed everybody who comes to my house. And when they come to my house, I don't care if you're a meat eater. I don't care if you're a pescatarian. When you eat my food, it is so much love in my food. I take such care and pride in the things that I serve myself. So when I serve it to other people, but I make everything just beautifully. I just make it, and I'm Caribbean. I'm an island girl. I love flowers and stuff. So I like pretty things. I like eating things that look pretty. So when I prepare things, I make it look really pretty too. So it just, your mind, your body, and spirit is affected by the food too. But I'm gonna make some peanut butter cups. The raw peanut butter cups. Oh my God. I'm gonna make it and then I'm gonna freeze it. So it's like an ice cream. It's like a chocolate. It's like a peanut butter. Because I'm raw. I have to be raw because gluten is the devil. Don't have me going gluten now. Ever since I've fasted, every time I have anything that has gluten or any sort of grain that only teff doesn't bother me. I get inflammation. I get sick. Every grain bothers me now because everything's artificial. So ever since I fasted, my body does not react well to like breads or things like that. It's crazy, right, Dollface? I can't believe it. It's madness. I was like, I went to just have a bagel, and I think I was sick for like a day and a half. Just my body was like, listen, chick, you fasted, you cleared us out. We're going to tell you it's the devil and you can't eat it here. You too, Selma? Yeah, I can't do it. So so what I do now is I make, I try to, I don't do pastas anymore. Like I do soba. I like soba noodles. Those are my best. I love soba noodles. I like soba noodles. I don't do udon because udon has that wheat. I also like, what's the other ones? I love, what is it? Like the Asians make the noodles, what is it called? Oh, quinoa is my favorite. Quinoa, I love. Ashira, love quinoa. Up the gazoo. I could eat quinoa all day. What's the other thing I eat too? It's, what is it called? It's like a vegetable. The Asians eat it a lot. Black bean pasta is good. But no, this one is really nice. It tastes like it's like a little slime. It's like a little slime. You don't cook it that much. Oh gosh, I forgot. Soybean. It's like not soybeans. Something bean. It's something bean. Bok choy is good. I forgot what it is. I like that noodle every once in a while, but I don't mess with. I can't because I bulk up. I bulk up like the indigenous that I am. I can't. I can't eat the colonized foods. I can't eat colonized foods anymore. I need a mung bean. That's it, Shira. Mung bean. That's it. Mung bean. Oh, I love it. The noodles. Shira. I like that. Occasionally I do that with seaweed. I put seaweed in it. It's really good. I do that like a soup with some fresh diced vegetables on top. It's really yummy. Yeah. I love bamboo too. That's South America's good for the bamboo. I really like it. The mung beans are really, really good. It's good for you. Your body doesn't feel crazy when you eat it. I just, I have to master that point because I'm done. I keep looking at donuts and stuff. Like I see donuts and I'm like, oh, they look so good, but one donut will hurt my entire body. It's so not worth it. You had mung beans? Oh yeah, I like mung beans. Yeah, fasting 20 when I have yes, I like the mung beans. And the bamboo shoots are delicious. It's hard. Now that's a South American food. The South American have bamboos. Like if you go to the Brazilian places here, they do bamboo up the gazoo, and it's so yummy. My little ones love it. So we're gonna have to change some of our eating. We're gonna have to change. Soy is messing with my emotions. That's what Cadillac said. I had a bit, and I was super depressed. Yes, soy is the devil. Soy and gluten, and the chickens. We need to have a church of our own. We need to have a food church. And we will make prayer circles, and we will demonize all the dirty food. Because I tell you, boy, some of these foods are so toxic. And they had a donut at Universal, and I tell you, the donuts look so, and it smells so good. Remember, we've been reared on donuts. We've been reared on. I know I hear things. We've been reared on donuts. We've been reared on carbs, on these processed carbs. We have, and it's comfort food. So a lot of times when I see a bagel, my daddy loved bagels. My daddy used to love to take us to New York. If anybody knows New York bagels, you can smell New York bagels, the bakeries all around New York, especially downtown. My dad used to take me to the fresh bagel places where they make fresh bagels, and they make lox and cheese. Like they make, not lox and cheese, lox and cream cheese or whatever. Was it lox and cheese or cream cheese? I think that's what it is on top. That's what I grew up with that. So I've been conditioned, and I've been conditioned to grow up on that type of food. So it's like, as soon as you see a bagel, I get happy when I see it, but it hurts me. It's like a bad relationship. It's like, oh, he's so cute, but he's abusive. It's like an abusive relationship with your food. And I can't do it anymore. So I prefer to do raw for the most part. My body likes being raw more, but I also have to add things. And when I tell people all the time, when they say, oh, I'm a vegan, I don't want to, they judge themselves. If you need to be a vegetarian for a week, or you have to add something to your staple, your food, do so. Because long term, you'll do more harm to your body if you neglect your body from nutrients. A lot of you don't know what you're doing being vegans. And I've seen people being vegans 20, 30 years. They lost their hair, they've broken teeth, their skin, their bones are brittle, their nails are brittle, and you can't recover from that. So you keep being vegan and eating chips all day. You'll see where that leads you in like 20 years. I'm just saying, some of you are vegans and you're not, and your ancestors weren't vegans. Some of you can't be vegans based on your gene pool. You following a trend. I'm about this life. See, I've been in this world for over 25 years. So I'm about this world when there was only rice milk and so on. So I know what I'm talking about. And I've seen people who can't recover from the amount of lack of nutrients because their ancestors weren't natural vegans. I want you to tell me what tribes were vegans. You can't tell me because there wasn't many, if any. There weren't. So if you're eating that lifestyle, it's not an indigenous quality. Now, there were more fruitarians. When you get to the islands, more island people, we tend to be more fruitarians or pescatarians. Island people, what you'll see with island people, we tend to do well on raw veganism a little better because we come from a jungle type of place. Our ancestors were always going to the vine for their staple of food, but they did have fish. So occasionally you had fishermen, or they'd eat, they're more pescatarian. They were mostly fruitarians that had occasional fish. Okay, so most of the islands, we tend to be more fruitarian type of beings, not so much greens. Most island people I know don't eat a lot of greens. They eat a lot of fruit. Okay? Yeah, Jamaicans, the Arawaks, the Caribs, the Taino, those are more fruitarians. But they did eat some meat. I mean, not meat. They did eat fish. Okay? So they did do that occasionally. And some of the quail, like sometimes the birds, once in a blue. It wasn't normally, they didn't do a lot of hunting, but or the wild boar, which is more in some parts of the Tahitian Islands. They did wild boar. That's why they put the boar, the pig underneath. It's not the pigs you see in the grocery store. It's not those homogenized pigs that are mixed with human DNA. Not the ones you hear in the Quran when they talk about stay away from bad meat or whatever they call it, unhealthy flesh or whatever they call it. But it's not that. They eat wild boar. It's a brown boar that has tusks, and that's what the native Polynesians and Hawaiian Islands ate. They ate that. And that's more of a natural, that's not really, I wouldn't even call that pig. The pig that you eat is pink, and it looks like it's human, because it is. It's partially human. That's why the pig's heart can be placed in the human's body. Okay, so that's why the pig that you eat, you're not eating wild boar. Now, if you go to Polynesia and you eat wild boar, that's not even, I wouldn't consider that pork, because it's something different. That's the original, that's an heirloom that they eat. So the Polynesians ate that, and they were fruitarians that ate occasionally boar, or some of them fish. Okay? And it tastes much better. I'm sure it tastes better because it's natural. All this stuff. Yeah, your boar and pig are different. Look at the two. Just like the chicken. If you looked at the chicken that you're eating every time you buy chicken. Oh, I like callaloo. My mother made callaloo. Oh, matter of fact, I'm going to go over her house. She has callaloo. She has leftover callaloo. She made callaloo last night. I love callaloo. But if you look, most of you wouldn't eat what you buy at the grocery store if you saw the way it was. If you saw the pus coming out of these cows from being sores, from being hurt, and being in the thing, and how sickly they look, and then you go and eat those cows, you wouldn't eat those cows. When I went and bought my mate his meat from the farmer, the cow was on the pasture. He was eating. He was happy. Notice they didn't kill the female. He was eating grazing, and he was a little older. They didn't want to kill young cows. They didn't do that. They were, I think they were also religious too. So that it was an older cow. He wasn't too old, but it was an older male cow. And they killed one cow a month. Not a whole bunch of them. They didn't slaughter them in a slaughterhouse. Bastards. What kind of devil? Who works at these slaughterhouses? Don't breed with those sea stars, please. Please don't breed with those men that work at slaughterhouses. Your children will have all kinds of payback karma. You'll bring ancestries of karma. You breed with those males or those people working at those farms, killing mass amount of animals back to back to back. Yeah, that's karmic that you're gonna breed with. Keep that out of your repertoire. All right, a bull is a male cow. That's right. Yes, a bull. And many of you can. There's bison burgers. There's bison burgers, which are also buffalo burgers. Most of you don't even know what that is. Listen. The most wealthy people, you go to their houses, they don't eat all the food you guys are consuming. I'm going to be honest. You go to their houses, somebody made a post on Cypher. They eat gold, flecks of gold on chocolate. I've had that before. They eat caviar, which is, baby eggs, but they eat caviar, beluga. They eat buffalo. They eat venison. You go to some of these bougie parties, they eat bison or buffalo. What either we call bison or buffalo. You go to these parties, they don't eat what you eat, and they rear their own animals on their own farms. They don't eat what other people eat. When they order steak, they get steak from their farm, from their animal on their land, and they have it slayed probably that day. So I'm just saying the things that they promote for you and your family, but that's what we get for relying on third parties to feed our families. We're relying on third parties to care more about us than we care about us. How you going to rely on somebody you don't even know? It's insanity. No, if you going to kill food, if you want to be a meat eater, go out and hunt. I have more respect for you if you go out with a bow and arrow or whatever the case is and go hunt yourself a male animal. Leave the females alone. Go hunting. And then you'll see the life being snuffed out of this animal, and then maybe you'll have more respect for what you eat. Maybe you'll honor the animal a little bit more like the natives did. So I'm okay if you're one of those people who hunts. I don't really get mad at the hunters. The only hunters I get angry at are like the taxidermy ones that go and get heads and stuff on the walls. I have a problem with those beasts because they're doing it for like sport. But I'm talking about the countrymen. You know, everybody talks about these rednecks. I'm gonna keep it real. As much as you talk about rednecks being prejudiced, they kill their own food. They go fishing and they go and kill their own food and they eat it and they tend to do a little better. Okay, look at some of these rednecks. They live long lives eating gators. Some of them go out there in the swamps in Mississippi. They're killing gators. They hunt and they kill gators. So I'm just saying, some of you need to start to relearn yourselves. Stop deprogram yourselves from eating all this crazy animals. And if you're gonna eat animals, then go and hunt yourself. Stop being a punk. You know, I love men who are very virile men who go out there and hunt for their food. I think it's a beautiful quality. Go hunt for your food, and then, you know, and if that's what you do, then you see what you slay. But if you go to a grocery store with 10 different cows and one package of meat, that's disgusting and it's abusive. It's wrong. It's all kinds of wrong. There's a karmic debt for that, and you're seeing it with Fuego and Pele. And if you want to keep doing harm to the land and deforesting and not recycling and not composting, you too will be living under tyranny of Mother Tiamat and her gentrification. Anyway, family, I'm gone. We done talked about so much. We talked about so much. I gotta stay focused. You gotta help me. I wish you guys could help me stay focused. You let me go on these rants. I try to stay on topic for the first. I try to stay on topic for the first 20 minutes. After that, it just goes left. After the first hour, it just goes left. I mean, the conversations are good, but they just go all over the place. I know, because somebody was like, I love the videos, but they're going all left and they're not part of our discussion. So they don't see how we build together. Like, we're talking. It's kind of like we're communicating, we're building. So that's all it is. So I thank you. I love you. And there'll be intel. Now, Cypher will get it first 3 days from now. We got some intel. It's on and popping. I hope you got your bug out bags. This is exciting. Listen, for all you who are worried about your bills, you may not be worried in a couple days. Get your card game on. Go get some Parcheesi. And go get some games, because you may, and get some flashlights. All right. I love you. That's all I'm going to say. Peace.